You know, there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, what's up? This is David Alexander.
And I'm Will. We're from Carousel Kings, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father. And as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. But before I introduce my guest for today's podcast, please get out to YouTube, support BODS Mayhem Hour, click subscribe, click that notification bell, and keep up with everything that I bring down the pipe, because these are real questions, in-depth interviews that you will not be disappointed in. And stay here with me, guys. Don't go nowhere else. Stay right here. Right here is where you want to be. You know, this is the podcast right here. But anyway, today's guest is vocalist David Alexander and multi-instrumentalist Will Barovick of Carousel Kings. They will independently release their fifth studio album titled Untitled Mixtape via their publisher and label partner, Mother West, in early 2023. They have also released their new single titled Something in the Water featuring Paycheck to all major platforms. Also check out single Disappear and Forgive and Regret. Gentlemen, sorry for the long-winded intro there, but how you guys doing today?
Good, man. Sunny day.
Yeah, doing great, man. Thank you. How are you?
Doing awesome. Love doing these podcasts and getting you guys out there. And first and foremost, I liked your guys' music even before this. So I'm real tickled about this. I'm tickled as a possum in a holler somewhere. So there we go.
That's an awesome Southern saying that I don't think I've ever
heard. So how big was the local scene in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in 2008 as a band, and like how much support did the band get and releasing these two full albums on local indie label CI Records, guys? How was it? Because people don't understand, like, you know, some local scenes are great, some local scenes are non-existent. So let's talk about that just a little bit. How was that scene, and did you have to, you know, go out of that scene to get more support?
Yeah, at that time it was pretty metal in Lancaster, but the shows were pretty poppin'. And I mean, we were younger then too, so our friends were still around and sort of, you know, a big support at that time. I mean, the band we grew up kind of like watching from, I mean, was August Burns Red. They're probably the biggest band from Lancaster. And at that time, I think that's what inspired us to want to go out on the road more. Will came in just at the beginning and / end of that, and started hitting the road with us. Yeah, I guess that's how that was the progress, right? What made you want to tour, Will?
Yeah, I didn't join until like 2014, so I wasn't around in 08. But I know, and I'm also a Jersey guy, so I kind of missed a little bit of that Lancaster in the past, unfortunately, because it would have been cool. You know, I love ABR and everyone in the PA scene. They're all sick bands, but it was cool to kind of be implanted into like a PA band and sort of see the PA scene as kind of an outsider. I always thought that was pretty neat. It was cool to see all the support that everyone had, not only for us, but yeah, like Dave said too, a bunch of metalheads, a lot of metal bands and stuff, metalcore. So it's cool. They were accepting of us. You know, there were some heavier CK songs, but a lot of it was pop punk too. So it was awesome that I think the whole scene is just, you know, pretty accepting of anyone who's into their craft.
I remember back in the day, man, pop punk and horror punk. I mean, it was banging. I mean, every local scene had their horror punk bands, and I absolutely ate it up, man. I loved it. And I'm just going to say this right now. There's a lot of local horror punk bands and punk bands I thought were better than some of the national touring bands. I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I thought that they were something I was just like, how are you still local and indie? How? I know it's not the whole, rigmarole like used to be back in the day. Oh, I went to CBGB, then they discovered us, the record guy. Those days were long gone. So now it's even tougher. And I was thinking like, this sucks for these guys because they are damn good. I know lots of bands like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool to see bands in the scene. I thought it was really cool. That's what I'll say about the PA scene.
The band completed multiple U.S. tours, including 2 runs on the Vans Warped Tour and toured Japan twice, the UK, and Germany. After that, you guys took a break. Did you guys just need a recharge, or were you guys just tired of it, or just want to just back off a little bit to just refresh?
Probably a mix of everything. We weren't getting like offers that we really wanted to pursue, and I think it's good to take time away and get back to the roots on what we want to write or what we actually want to play, which put us into like the experimental phase of writing and collabing with other artists, and that's been fun. So it'll be cool to see how these songs get received and then what happens after that.
How excited are you both to release this upcoming 5th studio album titled Untitled Mixtape, guys? I know you have to be itching at the bit to get it out there instead of having to waiting so long.
Yeah. I'm stoked. I mean, it's going to be cool. Putting the singles out that we have is cool. And just the response we get from those, it's awesome to see. Cause like Dave was saying, there was a mix of things, but also COVID kind of hit us weirdly, like we're not in the same spot. Not that, we still, there's still technology to help out. And we met up in the studio with masks when the stuff started to, kind of get a little less strict, but it's awesome that all this time people are still really into what we're putting out, and even if it's experimental, like Dave said, it's really cool.
Are we going to get just singles up until this album is released, or are we going to get just a few more then stop? What's going to happen down the pipe with this album?
We're planning on just doing the single rollout. Being independent means we take on more of the financial of what like a label would normally do. So we're hoping that the long, slow roll will help in the end with like the pre-orders and getting everything out there.
I know you guys mentioned that this is going to be a new flavor of music from you guys, especially the collaboration deal. But what led the change to explore outside the box for this album? Has this been something you wanted to do for some time now and just finally have the opportunity to do it, or what?
I would say I've always wanted to do it, and I feel that our first step in doing that was on the Plus Ultra album. There was a bunch of features on there that we weren't able to list because of legal issues or whatever. The label didn't want us to. But I feel like if we would have been able to market it the way we wanted to, that would have been more of a mixtape. Because there was a bunch of collabs and features on that one.
All right, David, I'm going to put you on the hot seat for just a second here, my brother. So how's it been working with William on this album? I know he came into Carousel Kings at the later bit of this, but how's working with him on this album? And what's he brought for you on this album, and that maybe somebody else might not brought, possibly not knocking anybody else out there. I'm just saying, how's the collaboration with you guys?
I love working with Will. I feel that he is able to, he's just able to pick up whatever and perform on the spot. And a lot of times it's cool watching how the idea will progress. I feel like a lot of times he kind of forgets what he does, which is cool. And that sometimes makes for the best thing in the studio, like he can capture the emotion, the emotional side musically. And he joined in 2014, and he wrote majority of Charm City and Plus Ultra. So this is the third full length, I believe, right, Will, that we're doing together.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel like I get excited every time. I don't think there would be any other guitar player that I would mesh with or want to work with Will is Carousel Kings, just as I am the vocal side. He's the music side.
Will's not crying. Those are happy tears. He's not crying. It's allergies.
My eyes are just sweaty today, dude.
All right, guys. What led the track "Forgive and Regret" to be the first track released off this album? What was it about that said this has to be the first one coming out swinging?
I believe it was just Sad Gods. Well, I guess the way we were putting out the album was doing the collab releases first. So we just chose that one because we thought it would be more reminiscent to like the older sound and be less abrasive to our actual fans who might not want to hear, the EDM style that is more present in the Disappear track. But I guess from here it'll get more experimental. But they'll still be your expected sound because it's still us, but yeah, some shreds. But it'll be fun to see how everybody receives these next tracks.
So far, guys, how has the reception been with these tracks that's been released so far? What's the presence been from all the fans, and plus making new fans with all this?
I haven't read any negative comments yet. I mean, I don't search too hard through them, but everything I've seen is, this rocks. This is awesome. I haven't heard these guys, but this is great. Which it's kind of like, that's what happened in Charm City. It was our first album on like a major label, and with just like some of the extra press we weren't used to. It's like, we got so many like YouTube comments, just like, no, well, never heard of this. This is an ad and these guys are great. The solo's crazy. This guy can sing like a beast, so it's kind of reminiscent of that too. It's just like kind of getting new people on that are really digging it. And old people, I think, or older fans are, I think they're still digging it too, in my opinion. I haven't seen any hate mail yet.
And especially, and I'm not knocking you guys whatsoever. I don't mean this in any disrespect whatsoever, but I mean to stay irrelevant to this day, the way times are, for people still to recognize Carousel Kings and what you guys are doing, that's pretty big to me because, bands can go away in a heartbeat. And it's sad to say. It's like, EPs are the thing now. It's like, what have you done for me in 2 weeks? Well, we just put on an EP. I'm done with it. It's like, what do you mean? So everybody wants something like every 10 minutes. So to stay irrelevant like that, that's pretty good for you guys, honestly, for anybody, actually.
Yeah, the attention span of people is, short. I mean, I'll say myself too. It happens to me. But I've been trying to get better, trying to listen through more full albums if anyone recommends me. But yeah, I think that's kind of why the single thing is cool, because it's like, okay, just shit rocks. They get bored in a month, here's a new one, right? And then I think it also kind of works in the other way too. People who are waiting for the album, it's like, little crumbs, like here's one. It's like, ooh, okay, tasty. Ooh, this one's different, because, most of them are pretty different from one another. So, yeah.
Are these all brand new songs, guys, or songs that didn't make a previous album or EP, or just songs that was left in the vault that you guys finally said, let's do something with these?
They're all brand new. We wrote a lot of them. I mean, all of them were written with and at Atrium Audio. So like Grant and Carson, they helped write, on the entire album. So not only, on top of that, we did have all the collabs additionally. So yeah, it's a very diverse sound, and I would say we did our best to build our own little super group during the COVID excursions.
There's several collaborations with artists: Sunday Friend, Sad Gods, and AJ Perdomo, and including Saxel Rose, Roy Rodriguez, and Paycheck. Were these specific songs you wanted to work with him on, or did you let them pick them, or how'd this come about?
I think each case was unique. The Sad Gods thing was like a demo via our touring guitarist, his connection. So that kind of like fizzled into existence. I believe 2 or 3 of the songs were written with Grant and Carson, just us. So it was Will, myself, Carson, and Grant. And then Saxel, I think that was an afterthought because it felt like he would fit the parts so well. He's such an incredible player. AJ initially reached out for just a feature and then ended up doing a full-on collab in addition to the feature. So that was like an icing on the cake type of situation. And Paycheck, I believe, was also another one of our guitarist connections. So it was like kind of like an in-house, who do we know? Who can we get in touch with? Who's going to respond to us? The AJ thing was so random. He responded so quickly too. So that was pretty cool.
Is this what we're going to see from now on from Carousel Kings collaboration albums down the road, or we just or don't know, or just whatever the feeling is?
Yeah, we already have more stuff in the bag. Some of that is more collabing. Yeah, I would say that you won't know what to expect from us because we're just kind of doing whatever we want at this point. So hopefully we can keep people guessing enough and just keep having fun.
I know you mentioned you have a lot of stuff left in the bag, but any tracks that did not make this album, we can see on another EP or an album down the road from you guys, possibly.
Yeah, we have an EP in the bag, as well as maybe a few other singles, and additional like collabs. We're gonna have remixes coming out of some older material in the future, and that'll be a lot of collabing as well. Yeah.
The collabs are always cool. I enjoy working with everyone, and it really does make a diverse sound. I think our goal is probably Beyonce one day. Just get on a track with her. That'd be sick. More realistic, I said before, I'll say it again if anyone's listening, Don Broco. I would love to get that guy singing with Dave. I feel like him and Dave and Rob would be a duo to hear. I feel like that vocal mesh would just be like, oh, blah, blah, blah.
All right, you talked me into doing a track as well. I'll be there, guys, for you.
Please do.
I'm there for you, bro. Any tracks standing out more to the both of you than any right now? I know these are your babies, guys, but do you have any that stick out for the both of you, possibly?
We did our first R&B song.
Oh wow,
that's true.
So
yeah,
if you could imagine "Here Now Forever" as being the softer song, well, now there's one even softer.
Oh man, yeah, there we go.
So,
I really like Something in the Water because honestly it's so like classic punk that I feel like the rest of the album is gonna be a pleasant surprise to everyone. So it's a cool kind of like, oh, CK's still punk, and then it's like, wait a second, R&B song.
It's like I've always said, man, you got to have a flavor of music on an album. It's got to take you on a ride. I mean, it's like you come out with the lever, then you swing with the ride, you hit that uppercut, and it's like, oh my God, what I just listened to.
That's it. That's what we're shooting for. Punches to the ears, not the face.
Was there a track that you were working on that totally ended up sounding different than it was intended to when it was first brought to the table? Was there one that just kept changing and changing, maybe possibly, or no?
I would say any one of my what I call shy demos. I would show you the original, and I'm sure everyone would have a good laugh. But it's the basics of the song. So I would say one of those, maybe the little MIDI.
And the Sunday Friend one was a pretty. That one changed around too. I don't know. The EDM thing added in it was awesome. It was so sick. I was like, whoa, where did this come from? But I mean, that one sort of changed it up too. Disappear.
Did the pandemic, and I hate that we're in the pandemic still, we're slowly but surely getting out of it, but did the pandemic allow the band to have more creativity working on this album compared to, say, pre-pandemic, possibly?
Tough to say. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I feel like we kind of just get our creativity out whenever we can, and especially when we're together. And yeah, I don't know. I guess the pandemic kind of separated us for a little bit. That wasn't too great. But like I said, once the restrictions started to lift up, we met up again and sort of started, getting back into it, writing again, hugging, loving each other.
The album was recorded and written with longtime collaborators Grant McFarland and Carson Slovak, you guys mentioned earlier, at Atrium Audio in Lancaster. Working with these guys, did they get something out of you all possibly that somebody else may not get if you'd worked with anybody else possibly or no? Or they just get the band?
Personally, I feel that they allow both Will and myself to be as us as we can be, but still like in a constructed like way that makes sense and that's cohesive. Yeah. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's really cool to work with them. They let us, like Dave said, they let us be us, but they're also not shy of saying like, why don't you try this? And like any good producer would do, but I feel like they are just really laid back and cool guys. And they're also both super technical in what they do. Like watching them on the computer is crazy. Just how fast they can work every program they use. It's awesome. And it definitely streamlines the creative process for sure. Cause they get it all set up quick, throw in any ideas we have, like, put a synth here, put this chorus here. And it's like instant. Any kind of drum programming we need, Grant is a master is not even the word. Like whatever, a god, I guess. He's god of drum programming. So it's cool working with them for sure.
And at least it's not back in the tape days either. So you got that for you.
Amen, brother. That would be rough. Although I would give it to both of them. They'd probably be some of the best to work with tape if they were working back in the day.
Who's doing the cover art for this album, or who did the cover art for this album?
Krista Elaine Art, which is my girlfriend.
Oh, there we go. So working with her though, did she get exactly what you guys were looking for, or did you just say go ahead and just run with it and see what you come up with?
No, I collab with her on a lot of the art. Like most of the single art will also be her. Pretty much everything except for the Something in the Water was done by Gunnar. I can't pronounce his last name, but he's from Norway. He's like a tattoo artist. But then, yeah, everything else, including the cover, was Krista Elaine Art. She's great. And it's fun. She's like another person I love collabing with. So it's super, super fun and easy.
For the both of you, what's the growth musically you've seen from yourselves working on the album Untitled Mixtape from like 2019's Plus Ultra album? Is there anything that musically has grown that you are impressed with, or something that you may have picked up now that you can add to your repertoire of your stuff?
I think tone chasing is a little more prominent in my mind. Like it's cool to just take an extra minute or 10 or, honestly, however long you need to kind of find a really cool or quirky tone, like whatever vibe you're looking for. But a tone, even like the sound of a keyboard can completely change the vibe of a song. So I feel like tonal aspect for me has honestly been sort of a change, just thinking about it more, kind of, being more conscious of guitar sounds we're working on or whatever. Even like hearing the vocal production when Dave's in there and whoever, if someone's looking for a specific sound, I'm like, oh yeah, that is right. I see what he's saying. So yeah.
I saw this comment on your YouTube page. The comment was on your Disappear video from Joey Crunk. You guys helped me through more than you'll ever know. David and Will are very ambitious. You guys are amazing. I can't stress that enough. When you see all that come down the pipe after all this band's been through, and especially with the music now, what's your thoughts on this, guys?
I think it's awesome. Kind of like what I was saying before. Like I haven't seen too much hate, or I haven't seen any hate, honestly, on any of the new stuff. And any hate I do see always just makes me laugh. So, but to see the love and, especially when we're in the studio, and I guess I'm not really thinking about other people, honestly. I'm focused on the song and what we're feeling and, what it's making us feel, and then how that will transfer out. I guess it's kind of secondary, but it's awesome that people are behind what we do. They're with it, and that, you know, something that I worked on in a studio with my buddy can help someone who I've never met. It's an awesome feeling for sure.
Do you both still have a go-to album or song that you find yourselves going back to and listening to from time to time? Because I know you still have that one album or song that you gotta listen to ever since you was kids, possibly, maybe.
Dig by Mudvayne for both of us.
That's a great. Yeah.
I'm completely kidding. I would need to think for a moment. Give me 10 seconds. Dave, you're first.
I can tell you. Parkway Drive, Horizons album. That one, I don't know. That is what inspired a lot of the early like breakdown like riffs in the like the, you know, what's it called, Slice of Heaven days or whatever.
I got to hit you with two because I can't choose. My pop soul goes back to Mayday Parade, whatever. I can't even remember the name of it now, so shame on me. Whatever their one is with Jamie All Over. I can always listen to that album. But my tech shred brain, Animals as Leaders, The Joy of Motion, that album, honestly, I can listen to that front to back any day. Just get assaulted and listen to crazy 8-string jazz / metal at the same time.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Carousel Kings. They will independently release their 5th studio album titled Untitled Mixtape via their publisher and label partner, Mother West, in early 2023. Pick up their singles right now that's out, Something in the Water, Forgive and Regret, and also Disappear. Please pick up everything that this band has coming out. You won't be disappointed. So how can folks stay in touch with you guys, do all this merchandise, tour dates, when it happens? How can they do that, guys?
I guess the easiest way is Linktree, the Carousel Kings Linktree. You can find everything on. We're active on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook sometimes. What else we use? That's kind of about it. Pre-orders are all at the Mother West store. Anybody who pre-orders, you'll get your stuff for Christmas time. For everybody else, you can have it for Valentine's Day for next year. Yeah.
Before I let you both go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love to.
Hey, what's up? This is David Alexander.
And I'm Will. We're from Carousel Kings, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please check out our Facebook page as our podcast link and our YouTube link. And like I said earlier, subscribe to that YouTube link and hit the notification bell because we have a lot of great stuff coming up. And stay right here at BODS Mayhem Hour. Don't waste your time anywhere else. Right here, guys. Check out Carousel Kings, their new album that's going to drop out in early 2023, Untitled Mixtape. Check out their singles. Please support this band. And you guys are welcome back on here anytime. And I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. Thank you for this interview.
Heck yeah, thanks so much for having us on, John. It was nice talking to you. Nice meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, John. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. We'll talk to you soon.
No problem. See you guys later.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.